What's up guys, Clip Clown here. Before we get started with this animation tutorial on keyframing, I want you to take a look at these silhouette drawings. This is going to be key. Do one-page drawing with a thick pen, give yourself a little chance with different poses, and try and think of different character poses that really relay a sense of action and gesture. So that's what we're working on as far as bold outline, and that's going to help you in this following tutorial. So let's get started. We're going to block it out first with some paint blocking. This is a great way to give your figure some mass, to actually have it anchored down to the page and really understand where it starts and stops. After that, we go ahead and line that out. But what we do to achieve that is find the center line and what is the nearest part that is to us. So if you kind of break these drawings down, you'll see I always start with the kneecap that's nearest to us right there. I started with the foot that's closest to us. So when you're doing perspective wise, right there again with the foot that is out. So we're on the third frame now with this strike. So when you're doing perspective wise drawings, you definitely want to start with the closest item that's to you so you can foreshorten from there. If you do it the other way, it's definitely going to take you much longer to make it look realistic because you're kind of working backwards. So now we're kind of in the fifth drawing here, so we're getting a good amount of action here. He's now in his southpaw stance, so we're in the sixth drawing here. Instead of just having a single kick, we wanted to do another little punch, so he's kind of lunging now. We're lining out the stance, and now the forward lunge with the punches. There's the fist all the way out, you foreshortened. So we haven't quite yet drawn an opponent. We're going to go ahead and get to that shortly. But first, we're just trying to get what the action of the main character is and where it starts and stops. We're checking some poses here, and we're making sure that we have a decent enough animation. And as you can see, only 7 drawings is going to give you a very slow animation. So I wanted to have the figure maybe get hit from the side, but we actually changed that midway through just because we could, and so we decided to alter that slightly. So here we have an opponent coming in, and we started with our point of action. So the point of action on each of these is where the strike actually happens. So again, with that same foreshortening aspect in mind, you definitely want to have yourself starting with where the figures make point of contact, or where the conflict actually occurs, and then draw the frames backwards from there or forwards from there. So it would be from where his foot hits him to the face, and then I would draw the frames after that, and then draw the frames before his foot coming to the face. So now we're working on a couple different figures to lay them out. We had to do some copy and pasting because we were doing frame by frame animation, so you are going to have to lay that out and copy figures if you want them to remain a static image, like after they get knocked out and you want them on the floor. So here we're going to talk about stretch and pull slightly. What you want to do within any animation is think about your action points and really pull and stretch those figures. So although we were working with block shapes and you're thinking in a tube sense and spheres, you actually want to exaggerate that just slightly. Not too much to the point of throwing it out proportionally, but actually just to the point of accentuating that action that's taking place. So here we have the third strike happening with the kick coming across and the right foot now coming back towards him. That right there is a nice frame. That's what you want to achieve if you were actually taking your time. This whole thing really only took me about 30 minutes, and you're going to redraw and draw these frames over and over again. So right now is just about moving fast and getting it down. So at this point, we're going to work on the impact hits. So any animation can only tell so much. You can only telegraph so much of the action, and especially with the short amount of frames. So here we have our typical comic book starbursts with each hit. So that really kind of tells the viewer, oh, that's where the strike happens. And next we're going to set the scene. So whatever that means for you is a background, or for this instance it's drop shadows. So it's fine for these guys to be floating around in this green space, but for sake of just locking them down in this area and giving them a plane to be on, then I actually wanted to do a drop shadow. So you can do a horizon line, but for this one I thought it'd be more effective just to airbrush a little drop shadow real quick. And as you can see, the animation came out pretty clean. So there's still a lot of work to be done here. You have to add your in-between frames, but I wouldn't go to that point until you actually add your characters that you want to put over these stick figure animations. So it's a process. You have to work it over and over. But some tips to remind yourself is always think about the center line of your figure. Think about a tube as far as extruding that figure from space, and also the perspective of how it lies. So to the right there we have a bit larger drawing to kind of illustrate that point of how you want to move around and think about moving this figure in your mind. But yeah, spheres, tubes, and prisms, people. Do it fast and block it in. Good luck. Thanks for watching.